Thank you.
Right, Sarah,
Yeah.
you go grab yourself a coffee. I'm going to show these wonderful people Melbourne, Australia.
Okay. See you
See
later.
you shortly. That's right, Melbourne, Australia. Who would have thought it? Well, not us, to be honest. We shouldn't be here at the moment, so I'm not entirely sure what went wrong. But what we're going to do is show you around some of the laneways in the centre of Melbourne. It's a really interesting part of town, and I've actually tried to make this a couple of times since we've been here, but for various reasons weather hasn't been on my side, maybe wind or other issues. So today got all excited, thought we got all the weather for it. As we got on the tram into town, the heavens opened, and as we got here, Sarah said, you're gonna have to ditch this today. Just as we got into central Melbourne, it just seemed to ease off. So I'm thinking there might be kind of rain specks appearing on the lens, but I kind of hope not. Let's see. Well, I'm crossing the road, hoping not to get run over by a tram. So welcome. My name's Neil. Well, my name's Neil from To Go Road. That was Sarah, who I just said goodbye to there. If you're new to our channel, we retired early 2 years ago, sold everything we own, our house and everything in it, so that we could live our dream of traveling the world for the next 10 years. We're on year 2. So if that's of interest to you, if you want to see our journey for 10 years, seeing the world and learning about how to live a nomadic lifestyle, then check it out. Anyway, we're heading down the laneways now, putting on screen exactly where we are. I wanted this to be a sunny day because these places are bustling on a sunny day, but a little bit rainy means it's a bit quiet, but there's more people here than I thought. So I think this is called De Grave Street, and lots of cafes around. We've been here in Melbourne now for, I think, 10 days, and we've been out and about every day trying to find exactly what this city has got, and some very interesting observations that I'll be making in this video about Melbourne. This is our first video from Melbourne, and we have two videos beyond this that you're going to be seeing. Let's give you a little preview on what those are. Firstly, on our first full day in Melbourne, we went horse racing at the world famous Flemington Racecourse. That was a lot of fun. So if you enjoy horse racing, other places in the world, you want to see how they do it in Melbourne, that'll be the thing to see. But as you can see, it's a little bit quiet around here, but there is still life going on. I'm going to try and keep under the canopies because it is raining. So I want to try and keep things off the lens if I can. I'll just squeeze out here to get around this guy. So that was the first, or the next video will be the horse racing. And then the one after that, well, maybe like me, you've heard that Australia is an expensive country. And it is. I think it's slightly more expensive than my home country of the UK. So what we wanted to do is see some free things here in Melbourne. So we made a video about that, but it's not your standard things of, you know, for free you can go to a museum and things like that. We've done some really interesting things that feels like we should have paid for. Going to be editing that video in a couple of days, but the final element of the free things we're actually doing tomorrow, so I can't edit it just yet. Just coming up onto a corner here where after we get past all of this kind of construction material, you'll see Flinders Station, the main central station in the centre of Melbourne. And on the other side, it's actually on the banks of the River Yarra. So let's just get past here, and there you have it, Flinders Station. Beautiful, very, very beautiful. We'll continue our walk. So that's the other video from here. You know, I mentioned we shouldn't be here. Well, certainly from a cost perspective, but also just from our own schedule perspective, this was not part of the plan at all. First of all, as I say, we're travelling the world for 10 years, and with Australia being an expensive country, we thought, let's leave it till we've travelled a few years, our investments have performed well before we stick our hand, he's crossing the road, so I'm going to stick our hands in our pockets to get to Australia. But things don't always work out the way you plan. There's a video that we're making, and I think we'll be out in 3 weeks after this one, which is about the concept of sunk cost. When you've invested something in an idea or a decision, and then you're giving money away, how that feels. And that's something we've had to do to actually be in Australia. But the wider element of the decision we made, I think was the right decision. Fire engine. So I'll just let him go. You know what? Being a YouTuber isn't easy at all. There is always, every video, there's something where you go, oh, I wish that hadn't happened. And it's something like this. It means, do I, when that happens, go back and start this video again? No, no need. Over on the right hand side, by the way, is an area called Federation Square. There's a lot of museums and things in there which are well worth checking out. So I said I'll make some observations. Here is a very interesting observation. So since we were last in the UK, which was, I think it was November. That's where we want to be. Right, this is Hoosier Street. Hoosier Street is all street art or graffiti. Some of it's graffiti, some of it is street art, and some of it's really cool. But most of our travels so far have been far flung. We've been in Mexico, Turkey, where else have we been? Thailand. We've been to Malaysia, Indonesia, and everywhere has felt very foreign. So here is an interesting observation, and that is the UK. That's where I'm from. If you leave the UK, the closest nation to the UK is France. So that is 27 miles away across the English Channel. So if you were to swim it, it's only 27 miles. You get to the other end of the English Channel and it's foreign. You're in France. France is very different to the UK. Obviously there's language, but the foods that are eaten, the attitudes of the people. I just wanted to, is that down there? I think it might be. Oh no, it's up here, it's up here. Something I want to show you. So, you look at it this way. You leave the UK, the first foreign land you come to, 27 miles away, and it's very foreign. If you keep going, let's say you go through France and you make your way to Switzerland and Italy, and then you head into Asia, maybe Turkey, and continue across from there, and you make it into wherever else, Indonesia, Malaysia, wherever. It's foreign. Everywhere is foreign. And then we're in Melbourne, which is 10,500 miles away from the UK. And this is the first time we felt at home. Isn't that weird? You go 27 miles and you're abroad, you continue to the other side of the world and you feel at home. And the thing about it isn't that it's because people speak English or even that the food's the same. The similarities are almost impossible to put into words. You kind of have to do it to realise that we're finding that the people think the same way, the humour is the same, just kind of side conversation humour that happens when you're in shops and things. See this place, Meatballs, I wanted to show you this. We ate in here the other day, the Meatball Wine Bar. Absolutely phenomenal restaurant. It's got great meatballs, obviously, otherwise it wouldn't call itself that. But the atmosphere in there is fantastic. So if you're in Melbourne, highly recommend it. There's lots of cool restaurants in this area. Yeah, just everything about being here feels like we're in the UK, but on the whole, we've got a far better climate. Since we got here, it's been sunny every day, and then the last day or so, it's been changeable. Right, this is actually our final stop of the day. AC/DC Lane. AC/DC Lane. So this is actually in recognition of AC/DC. I'll put some details on screen about this, but it's pretty cool when you look at what is coming out of the wall at the bottom end of this lane. Again, you've got street art, but you've also got what you would call, in some cases, graffiti as well. I would like to call most of it down here street art. And then right at the end, I'm not an AC/DC fan, I've got many friends who are, but you got this thing coming out at the end, breaking out of the bricks at the end of AC/DC Lane. So that is the Laneways here in Melbourne. A short video, not sure how long we've been going with this, but just wanted to show you a little bit of what you can see in this part of town if you're ever visiting. So remember, the next couple of videos we've got coming up are in Melbourne, and then after that we'll be talking about the sunk cost fallacy and how we were nearly caught by that. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. If our kind of journey is of interest, if you're looking for deep travel content, we're probably not for you, but just watching a couple of early retirees find themselves as they travel the world, this might be for you. Also, this channel wouldn't be going if it wasn't for our Patreons, a wonderful set of people, and with those guys we share videos, behind the scenes videos and regular updates and photos of what we're doing, and also help them with their own travel planning, hints and tips, and this community, they help each other as well. If you think that's something that will be of interest to you, then why not check in the description below or consider becoming one of our patrons. We'd love to have you there. We have such great engagement with those guys. Anyway, you've been watching To Go Rome. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.